Welcome back to another episode of Those Two Dudes. It's that dude, Josh.
That's that dude, Ruben.
It's been a little minute. I know we were on a little bit of hiatus, but we're glad to be back. We have so much to talk about. I know we always throw out our polls. We got the polls out there. We got our power rankings. We even got our money picks. Some of them have been hitting, most of them not. It doesn't matter. If you like money, come check us out, man. Come on, come make some money with us. Yeah, we're gonna release our rankings and our polls on our Instagram and Facebook page. Go check that out. But there's just too many topics out there for us not to discuss, especially with the NBA season starting. I know it's kind of already been pretty wild out there. The Wizards and Bulls, they're off to some pretty hot starts in the East. I think they're tied for first at 8-3. As of today, they're 8-3. But also, and I don't know if it's a surprise or not, man, but the Warriors, Josh, they're 10-1. Well, what are your thoughts on them, man?
10-1 without Klay Thompson. So, look, man, the Warriors, if they're healthy, they could compete. I mean, look, they still got Klay if healthy. They still got Steph. Draymond's getting a little old, but then they add Wiggins to that mix. I know Wiggins, he hasn't lived up to the hype he was getting in college, but he's still an athlete, and being in that maybe that third or fourth player role with the Warriors, I still think that and then a healthy Klay, if Klay comes back like 90% of what he was before, then yeah. And plus the West is pretty open. You know, the Suns went last year to the finals, so the Lakers are aging a little. I mean, they got an older squad, so I'm not really sold on them. So yeah, they get Klay Thompson back to at least 90% of what he was. I think they can make another push again.
The Warriors are 10-1 with the 0% healthy Klay Thompson. So adding on a Klay Thompson, who's arguably one of the best shooters in NBA history, obviously they can absolutely run it back. I like where this team is. I like that this team is, I mean, even though there's a lot of all-stars there, this is all built in the draft, right? We've talked about this. That's what I love. I mean, I don't love the Warriors, but I love them. I love Milwaukee. I love teams over the Clippers and the Lakers because they're just doing it through the offseason and they're big name cities. So they're trying to build super teams. The Warriors aren't like that. And that's what I really do appreciate from them. Steph's lighting it up. He's having an MVP year. Man, like you said, Andrew Wiggins, he's always talked about them making a move on, but I think he's perfect in a role where he doesn't have to be the first or second best player on the team. The Warriors are perfect for that. Let me throw something at you. Do you think it would benefit the Warriors any if they took a move on Ben Simmons?
That's interesting. So Simmons, I mean, look, he can open up the floor for them more because his whole game's getting to the lane. They don't have no true big, really. They don't have to put a big in there to be successful. Just get those guys out on the perimeter and they can all knock down shots. So he can maybe open things up more. That might actually be a decent fit for Ben Simmons and for the Warriors, honestly. So I wouldn't really like Ben Simmons necessarily to the Spurs. I know we talked about that. Or that was being talked about earlier in the offseason in San Antonio because Spurs don't have shooters. Warriors got tons of shooters. They don't necessarily need to play a big man to be successful. As long as maybe Draymond Green and him, they might not be able to be on the court at the same time.
I think Draymond Green would hurt his feelings every single time.
Right. And he looked. So that's the one caveat right there. But other than that, it could possibly work.
It could work. And everything you said is correct. I don't know if it will because it seems like Philly's asking for a lot. And I don't know.
That's another story.
Yeah, and I don't know what Golden State has available to give up for Ben Simmons. And even if they had draft picks, you know, those draft picks would be late in the first round because of how good Golden State is. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be an interesting move. I think it would make them a little bit better team. They'd probably do away with Andrew Wiggins and some draft picks, but and maybe even I know Wiseman. They've talked about possibly doing away with Wiseman. I don't know because they already have Embiid. I'm talking myself out of this. I don't know if that would be the best move.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know what they could give up. Like give up and still be successful after the trade. So yeah, I don't know if it works.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking from the perspective of if they could just grab Ben Simmons and put him on the roster, I think it could.
Sure. And that makes sense. But you have to think also, right? You and I both know it has to work both ways. Does it make sense for Philly?
Yeah,
it almost seems like it doesn't make sense for Philly.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But hey, NBA's off to a hot start. I'm loving it. It looks like everything's wide open, at least early on. I know everybody was all over the Lakers bandwagon this offseason. I'm glad to say you and I weren't. I'm glad to say that we're right. I'm glad to see that they're hovering around 500 and that their age is caught up to them the first 10 games of the season. I love it. You know, hate to say I told you so, but, you know, whatever. So cool. Glad to see the Lakers are struggling. I'm surprised to see the Clippers are struggling, actually. But also Kawhi, he's not back yet. And with Kawhi, you're on his timetable. So no telling.
But at the same time, the NBA, man, as long as you can get in the playoffs, then you have a chance if you have the right pieces together. It's not like they need him right now so early.
No, of course not. Yeah, and same for the Lakers, right? LeBron really hasn't played this much this season. And just as long as you can get in, and as long as most of your team is healthy. Those are the two biggest things. So, yeah, looking forward to that. That'd be exciting. Next up, man, we got to talk NFL. There's too much going on in this NFL world. Biggest one right now, man, Aaron Rodgers. Jeez. Aaron Rodgers, unvaccinated. He got COVID. He came out with a statement, then he backtracked a little bit, whether he misled or lied, however you want to phrase it. Is Aaron Rodgers the enemy in this situation, or? I mean, yeah. What's your take?
I was thinking about this a little bit. Like, so he's definitely being villainized by the mainstream sports media. Look, he could have been more upfront, more honest in his statements about whether he was vaccinated or not. I think he said, he was immunized or
he was immunized.
Whatever. Yeah. So he could have been more upfront with that. But at the same time, look, if he says he's not vaccinated, the mainstream sports media is going to put so much pressure on him. They're going to keep bringing it up over and over again that I understand why he isn't. So it kind of, it brings up like a different issue in my mind. Like anytime an athlete, so athletes are allowed to speak up only if it fits the mainstream media's narrative, what they want to happen, what they want to put out there.
If it's part of the majority, sure.
But if it doesn't go that route, if it goes contrary to that, then they're automatically villainized. And so those players, the people that have different opinions than what the mainstream media wants to put out there, they kind of have to shut up. So he didn't technically lie. He said what he said, and there was some truth to that. There was some not truth to that. But look, I don't blame him necessarily for saying what he said, because then they would have been all over him. So I don't really think he's the enemy there. I just think that, look, the media they need to let players speak out freely and give different opinions than just what they want to push out there. Because if not, then you're going to get this kind of stuff all the time. So I don't think he's the enemy. I think if anybody's the enemy, is just the sports media, or really the mainstream media in general, not just the sports media. So I don't hate what he did. I wish those players would be more honest and take whatever comes to them so that they can help others out that feel the way they feel. And every now and then you'll see it, but not too often. So maybe he could have been more upfront, but I definitely don't necessarily. I see why he wasn't so upfront.
Sure. Yeah, he's the enemy. Look, I agree with what you're saying, right? A lot of what you said is correct, especially in today's cancel culture world. You have to say the right things, or you're going to find one person living in their basement on Reddit that's going to say something. Oh, well, this person said this in 2013. We should cancel them. And then BuzzFeed's going to pick it up, and then they're going to try to say, well, so many people are after him when it's actually one person. With that being said, Aaron Rodgers put himself in this situation. He lied. He said that in the offseason, he said he brought this upon himself. If he doesn't have to talk about the virus. He doesn't have to talk whether he's vaccinated or unvaccinated. I think Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Cowboys, said something in the offseason about how he was going to keep that to himself. That's fine. Nobody brought anything else to him since. So if he gets COVID, he's going to have to sit out. No, there's not going to be any negative backlash to him because he already said he's going to keep that to himself, which is perfectly fine. Aaron Rodgers did not. Aaron Rodgers said that he was immunized from the virus. Josh, there's only two ways to be immunized from the virus. It's through getting the vaccine, or it's to keep yourself quarantined for the entirety of, however long. Clearly, he's not quarantined, and he hasn't been following COVID protocols, which the NFLPA agreed on in the offseason. He violated that, and, he essentially lied. So he lied about that, and I don't know if his teammates knew otherwise, but assuming that they didn't know that he was that he didn't know that he wasn't vaccinated, he lied to his teammates. So
you don't think, I mean, look, he's with those players like all the time. Like, I'm pretty sure they had a hunch that, hey, this dude's doing, I'm sure they speak. Look, he's the quarterback of the football team. Maybe not to every player, but I'm sure like a good chunk of them knew what was going on. Again,
right? Just assuming, because I don't know. You don't know. And I'm just looking at it for what it is. Right. But he also didn't follow COVID protocols, which required him to wear a mask on the sidelines and in press conferences, which he didn't. He lied. And then he wants to come out of a statement saying that they're out to get him. I mean, he put himself in the situation, and then he backtracks and said that he may have misled them. So it's just a sticky world that we're in right now, especially with the virus going on. Look, I have no problem. Again, if he wouldn't have said anything, this wouldn't have been a thing. It would have just been like, oh, he got COVID. He's out for a week. He's going to be out this game. That is it.
But in fairness, he may have thought he was really he was doing different stuff. He didn't take the shot, but he was doing like other stuff.
You know what? In fairness, he did. In fairness, you're right. In fairness, he may have thought that because when he quoted and said that he's been listening to his experts, including Joe Rogan, you're right. He may have thought that. I don't doubt that. So, I mean, but come on, like you just lose all credibility when you say stuff like that. Oh man, yeah. Either way, he'll be back this week, and they got a tough game against the Seahawks.
But fortunately for him, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So
best quarterbacks in the NFL. Yeah, best quarterbacks in the NFL. The Packers are one of the best teams in the NFL, and they're rolling right now. So
now we seen what the Packers were all about when they didn't have Aaron Rodgers last week. Gosh, that was pretty brutal.
Yeah. They're hoping Jordan Love never takes the field again. So also, needless to say, Aaron Rodgers was right to be upset at the Packers organization for moving up in the draft to draft Jordan Love in the first round.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Look, I mean, I know that was his first start, but he's been in the league for a couple years now. You might want a little bit more than that. And then Kansas City doesn't have the greatest defense either. So
to put up 7 points against the worst defense, and like you said, right, this is his second year in the league. It's the same coaching staff. It's the same playbook.
Right. Exactly.
Whatever. Yeah. All right. So from one drama to another in the NFL, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, they had their very public breakup with the Cleveland Browns. Odell actually just signed with the Los Angeles Rams. That was a sticky situation in Cleveland, man. I mean, was Odell to blame for that? Was Baker to blame, or was there something else?
I don't know. I don't necessarily want to blame anyone. It's just one of those things like, look, the person. So look, Odell Beckham's got one of those prima donna type personalities.
Sure.
You see from
from
time to time.
The receiver, that is a prima donna position.
Johnson, those type of players.
Yeah.
And he's got Baker's a young quarterback in the league, so he might not be ready to be able to handle that kind of personality. Like Odell still thinks he's a star receiver, so he might not be ready to handle that. And then look, and then as far as this free agency went, when he did get cut, teams that are going to look to get him are going to be teams that have veteran quarterback players, teams that are built to win, that have veterans that can handle him and put him in his place if need be.
Yeah.
I think the Rams might be a good fit. Now being in LA, I don't know how great that is. But he was in New York before, so I don't know how great being in LA is. But as far as the roster goes, I think that might be a good fit for him. I think Matthew Stafford could handle him. He's a veteran in the league. He's a successful quarterback. Whereas maybe Baker might not have been ready for that. And the Browns as a whole are a pretty young team. So
yeah, I don't think it's Baker's fault. I also don't think Baker is the answer in Cleveland, at least not yet. I'm still on the fence with Baker. But yeah. I mean, I know Odell's dad posted the video of all the times he was open and Baker missed him on his social media, which I refuse to believe that Odell Jr. didn't have a part in that. That was too detailed by his dad. But anyway, it was a breakup. I ultimately just didn't work out, and why they didn't at least trade him sooner I didn't understand, because that offense is built around the run. It's built around certain plays, play action, the run, moving Baker outside the pocket. Exactly. And I don't think it wasn't necessarily that he didn't look for Odell. That just wasn't part of the game plan. That's not what brings him success. And so Odell just didn't fit there. And right. And like you said, he's a prima donna. That's what the position is. Like you said, look at all the other names and receivers like Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson, like just these big names, prima donnas. Odell is right up there with them, right? They're great athletes, but it comes also a big personality. As far as the Rams are concerned, I can't imagine he'll be a problem with the Rams. First of all, LA really doesn't care about football. I know New York loves their football. LA really doesn't care about football. They love their basketball and baseball. Also, Odell is joining their team, their winning team. They already have something in place. I can't imagine he would be a huge distraction there. So, I mean, I think it'll work out. And plus that's a loaded team offensively. So, he'll be, splitting targets with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and company. But
Speaking of Kupp, man, I just saw his stats like this past week, and that man's putting up some super stats.
Dude,
holding it down for all the white athletes out there in the world.
Man, I tell you, Stafford and Kupp are they're committing some white on white crime over there with the Rams. They're just killing people.
Yeah, man. Well, but speaking of the NFL, did you the power rankings from last week? How many of your teams lost?
Oh, a lot of them.
Bro. Here, the hardest week.
I got my list right here.
By far the most difficult week.
Yeah. Hold on, I got my list right here. So I got, let's see. In my top 10, I had
6, I think. 6 lost.
Nine of them played in my top 10. And only 3 of them won.
Yeah.
So 6 losses.
Yeah, same here. And it was hard to rank them because of that. A lot of teams.
So hard.
A lot of the teams that lost, though, were teams with like 1 loss. So they kind of like ended up still right around where they were for me.
More or less. I was looking at your rankings, and ours are still kind of pretty much on par.
Pretty similar.
Yeah, they moved around a lot.
I think we had the same number 1 and the same number 10. Some of the picks in the middle were a little different, but
well, that's a good segue, Josh. I mean, look, we're halfway in the season now. Yeah. I mean, dude, tell me. I mean, we've seen a lot. I know we had high expectations for some. Obviously, some aren't living to them. But, I mean, I know we initially in the beginning of the season, we had Tampa Bay and the Rams. We had them up high. They're still up high. Man, what are your thoughts about halfway in the season? I mean, who's taking it?
So look, I'm gonna stay where I was as far in the NFC. I know my preseason pick to go to the Super Bowl was the Rams. I'm gonna roll with them. I think they're a complete team. They're doing very good so far. I know they had that loss to Arizona. Arizona's the only one-loss team in the NFL. But I'm not sold on them. I need to see Arizona do more. I need to see them do it in the postseason.
Also, the Rams just lost this past week against their Titans.
Yeah, they lost to my Titans, but currently in my new ranks, I have Titans number 2 right now in my power ranking. So it's not a terrible loss. Everybody else lost. So Rams really, they stayed at 4. I have them just behind Green Bay at 3. Look, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, Green Bay has a chance.
Oh, they win that game. They don't have a chance. They win that game.
No, I'm talking about as far as going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But the Rams, I think, are probably a little bit more of a complete. I think they're more of a complete team. So I'm going to stick with the Rams right now out of the NFC.
And the AFC?
And the AFC, man, if Derrick Henry comes back, I think my Titans might be able to do it.
He's scheduled to come back in the playoffs for the playoffs.
Playoffs or at the very end of the regular season, one of the two, somewhere in that time frame. So we need to get that bye, possibly to give them some extra time and also just to give ourselves a better advantage in the playoffs. Again, being in the AFC South, we talked about this, really helps. So look, if the Titans get Henry back and they stay healthy elsewhere, I think the O-line's been kind of banged up, get a few pieces back there, then I think we really got a good chance. Right now, I'd probably go between Tennessee and Buffalo.
I don't know what that loss was in Jacksonville this past weekend.
Yeah, I know. It was
I think that just proves the point, right? Any given Sunday, because I don't know what the hell that loss was.
It was ugly.
That was ugly. 9-6? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, that's fair. I got Tampa Bay. Yeah. I mean, how can you?
Tom Brady, man.
Yeah, it's Tom Brady. I got Tampa Bay, and people are they're getting healthy again. Antonio Brown's coming back, and Gronk's getting back. So the team's looking good. They obviously have the same exact team as last season, so I think they'll be all right. On the AFC side, this is tough. This is an open conference here. I'm gonna say AFC Championship game is gonna be the Bills and Baltimore. And
I don't hate it. I just think the Titans are better than Baltimore. I'm not sold on Lamar Jackson.
I'm not sold on Ryan Tannehill. I'm sold more on Lamar Jackson than I am Ryan Tannehill.
Look, but Tannehill does what we need him to do. First, we're a run-first team, similar to Cleveland. And I think, look, with weapons we got on the outside now, the play action, it opens up because of Derrick Henry. And then, I think, he's not going to make as many. I'm not as scared of him to make as many mistakes as I maybe am of Lamar. But other than that, Lamar also, I'm not bought into his accuracy. And in the playoffs, you got to be more. You're not just going to be able to run on teams as a quarterback in the playoffs.
Yeah, you can. And I've in past, I haven't been sold on his throwing ability, but this season it looks like he's taking the step up. Because they've actually been having to come from behind a lot this season, which they haven't been good for. So it almost seems like that's a good thing that they have been able to come back and win these games. I don't know. It just feels a little bit different for Baltimore this year. And I would normally say the Bills, but these losses, man, against the Jags, wasn't there another silly loss that they lost at Tennessee?
Titans, but
yeah. But that Jags loss, man, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Pittsburgh, right? They lost to Pittsburgh early.
They lost to Pittsburgh first game of the season.
Pittsburgh's hot right now.
They're
red hot.
They should have lost Monday Night Football, but we're gonna ignore the fact that that was the worst officiated game in NFL history.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah,
I think they won 4 straight.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, so they are hot. They did win at Cleveland, so we'll definitely give them that. Dude, AFC's wide open, man. AFC's wide open. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the Browns made the AFC Championship game.
I was looking at the standings today, and looking at the standings, the NFC might be better at top, but the AFC I think has a little bit more balance. Like there's more quality teams.
Oh yeah, and that's why it's wide open.
Right.
Because I mean, look, the Patriots are in there. I mean, we haven't even talked about the Raiders. The Raiders are up there.
There's a lot of 5-3 or 4. There's a lot of teams hovering around 500 in the AFC.
And then also, right, a team that we haven't even talked about, the Chiefs. And the thing in sports is once you see something, it's hard to unsee it. We've seen the Chiefs be successful a lot more recently than not. And so it's just hard to think that they won't be there at the end.
Yeah, well, they got a big win this past week. I know it was without Aaron Rodgers. They had to have it, though. So, and they got what? Who do they got coming up? They got the Raiders coming up this week, right?
They have at Raiders this week.
At the Raiders, another big game for them. They got to get. I think they're like 2-point favorites or something like that.
Yeah, actually they are. And I took the lock. One of my locks is my money picks is the Raiders plus 2.5. I think.
Really? I almost went the other way, but I scratched that out. I took another game instead. So, anyways, you want to talk about those, or what? We got something else first, or what?
I mean, well, yeah. Tell me your locks. Who are your picks this week?
Okay, so I got on my 5 games. I got the Tennessee Volunteers plus 19.5 against Georgia.
That's in Tennessee, right? That's in Knoxville.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
I got my Texas State Bobcats minus 2.5 against Georgia Southern.
That's your lock of the week.
That's my lock of the week. Yeah, I like the matchup. Our weaknesses isn't necessarily what they take advantage of. Our weakness is through the air as far as our defensive liability. They're not going to really mess with us there too much, I don't think. So I think we have a good chance. Being at home, too, last home game of the season.
Yeah.
I'll take us 2.5 there.
Okay.
And last week. My next game I got is Pittsburgh minus 6.5. Man, I'm drawing a blank. I forgot who they play.
They play North Carolina.
North Carolina, right?
And that's tonight. It's a Thursday night game.
Thursday night? Okay, cool. Well, I'm taking Pittsburgh 6.5 just because I think their strengths do go against North Carolina. I don't think North Carolina's very tough up front. I don't think they're very tough on defense in general. They're not tough on defense.
Well, they put up 4,000 points last week against Wake Forest.
They put up 4,000 and they give up 4,000. Yeah. So I think Pittsburgh will handle that. Then I got my Titans minus 3 this weekend.
Against the Saints, right?
Against the Saints, yeah. No, Jameis Winston. So at home.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that.
Then I got the Bills bouncing back minus 12.5 against the Jets.
So the only reason why I'm hesitant on that is because the Jets are getting their quarterback Mike White back, and he lit it up against Cincinnati.
Wow!
It looked like he was the first round pick for the Jets. So I don't know. He's coming back.
What did you say his name was?
Mike White, not Zach Wilson.
I don't even know who that is.
Mike White is their backup, and he lit it up. And that's why we're having this conversation. But I don't know. I'm scared there. But, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they had to bounce back. My picks of the week, like I told you, I have Las Vegas, the Raiders, plus 2.5 against the Chiefs. I got Purdue plus 21 at Ohio State. I think Purdue's a little bit better than people think. I'm not saying they're going to beat Ohio State, but I think it's going to be a closer game than 21.
Purdue's interesting. So they got some good wins, but they also have some bad losses. So I'm like, what Purdue's going to show up? But yeah, I thought about that one too, but
I just don't think that they're going to lose by 21. That's all I'm saying.
I like that. I'm fine with it.
I have Wake Forest minus 2. That's a huge ACC battle this weekend. NC State at Wake Forest.
Yeah, big game.
Huge game. I got Wake Forest minus 2. I think they'll be all right.
I like it. I thought about that one too.
And then the 2 more, I got Baylor plus 5.5. Huge Big 12 game this weekend. OU at Baylor. I got Baylor plus 5.5 at home.
I like it. I think OU might win, but
I think OU will win, but I think it'll be a field goal game.
Yeah. Okay. I like it.
And my lock of the week, I have Penn State at home against Michigan. I have Penn State plus 1.5.
I don't like it. I don't like it as a lock. I don't hate it, but I don't really love it.
They're the underdog.
Yeah, I don't love it.
You don't think Penn State's going to beat Michigan at home?
They've been struggling, man. Penn State, they lost 3 in a row, 2 in a row.
They have been struggling, but Michigan hasn't beaten anybody good.
Yeah, but I don't know how good Penn State necessarily is.
At home.
So, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. And I don't like it as a lot. But all in all, though, I like your picks.
That's fair. Okay. Well, on the topic of college football, man, let's swerve on over from the NFL, talk college football. I know you've been preaching since this first started, the rankings in college football. It's a travesty. You know, it's what they're doing to college football is ruining it. Josh, for this year, for the first time, I agree with you, man. The rankings are just abysmal. I hate them. Look,
the AP is so much better. And I usually don't say this, but the AP is actually pretty accurate in their top 25 right now. It's the college football playoff committee that it's like they just pick out of a hat or something.
That's what it seems like. It seems like they just ignored their polls all season and said, no, we got our own poll. Don't worry about y'all's poll, because it's night and day from the AP poll, and it shouldn't be like that. No. And like if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, you can see my background. These are the top 7 teams. Georgia 1, Alabama 2.
I will say this. This week's polls were better than their first week's polls.
Sure. I'll give you that.
Houston still not being ranked is ridiculous. And Michigan being ahead of Michigan State a week after Michigan State beat them is also ridiculous. Those are my main 2. Those are my 2 biggest issues this week.
I get that. I like that. That makes perfect sense. I'm looking at the rankings. I hate that OU is at 8.
Yeah, that really doesn't make sense either. I currently have them at number 3. They're one of the only undefeated teams in the A5 conference. I don't know how they justify having them at 8. I know they've struggled in some games. They haven't had the toughest schedule right now. But look, some of these teams that they got in front of them, look, Michigan State just lost to an unranked team. An unranked team. How? And OU's undefeated. How? Why? That makes no sense.
Well, that's my thing though too. And this is why I get Michigan State at 6, because it's been a couple weeks now, and Michigan State, like you said, they just lost to an unranked team. So that's why I get why Michigan State is further. And exactly what you said. Why? I don't understand why. What makes Michigan State better than OU? And I mean, oh my goodness, I hate this poll. I hate it. And look, and now, like, this poll's so bad, it now makes me feel bad for UTSA. When I've just been dogging them all season, I now feel bad for them that they're just now being put at 23.
It seems like the only reason they got put in is because literally everybody on Twitter was attacking them. Like, they had to put them in. They had to put them in just to like throw a bone to the crowd, just to shut them up, because everybody was going against them.
I hate it.
So what they got? I think they snuck them in at number 23 or something like that.
Yeah, they're at 23.
Every other poll has them like in the top 15.
Yeah, in the AP poll, they're at 15. So knowing what we know now with the college football playoff, and obviously Cincinnati's at 5. Can Cincinnati make the top 4? Can they make the playoffs?
Logical world, in a world that made sense and was fair, yes, obviously they could, and they'd probably be in there right now in the top 4. But I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't know what ESPN wants, because I think at the end of the day, this is about what ESPN wants. I don't know if they want to sneak them in there. I think it's just going to be whatever they want. Do they want to change the ball game up? Do they want some fresh blood? Do they want to change it up? If they do, then yeah, they'll get in as long as they go undefeated. If not, then, which is more likely, I'd say more likely is they won't, because of past history. We've already seen this before. But it does feel like the narrative is a little bit different. Honestly, when I'm listening and hearing the mainstream people on ESPN and stuff talk, it does seem like the narrative's a tad bit different. They want them to be, it seems like they want them to be higher, but I don't know. I'm not 100. I'm on the fence still, to be honest. So,
I think Cincinnati, they can. They need Georgia to win out and to win the SEC championship game because they're going to play Alabama. They need Georgia to win because if they put Alabama in as a 2-loss team into the playoff, I'm done. I'm done with college football. But also, what makes me nervous is Oklahoma has some tough games coming up. They have at Baylor, at Oklahoma State, and then the Big 12 championship game. They could potentially leapfrog Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah, they would. If they're undefeated, they'll leapfrog Cincinnati. There's no doubt about that.
And so, I mean, yeah, you just gotta hope for an Ohio State loss, which could happen. They still got Michigan and Michigan State, and then the Big Ten championship game.
I think the main thing they need is for Oklahoma to lose one and for Alabama to lose one more.
What about Oregon? I'm just not sold on Oregon. I'm not
sold on Oregon, but like I keep telling you, they have to be ahead of Ohio State. And that's the only thing I kind of agree with the committee on, that little background right there where they have them at 3 and them at 4. I mean, I think both those teams are a little bit too high, but I like how they have Oregon one.
Oregon's remaining schedule. They got a home game at Washington State. Okay, Josh, next week they got at Utah.
At Utah. They could lose that one.
They could lose that game.
Lately. Yeah, I like that. That's a big time game.
That's a big game. That's a big conference game.
Mm-hmm. Utah's in first place in their division. I know they got 3 losses, but they've been pretty hot lately. They're first place in their division. So
unfortunately for Cincinnati being undefeated, they can get in, but they need help. And I hate saying that because they shouldn't need help. You should be able to control your help.
First of all, Houston should already be ranked.
Also, SMU did not help Cincinnati at all.
No, they didn't help them.
And I hate that. I hate that.
But look, Houston could end up playing Cincy in the conference
championship
with 1 loss. And at that time, I'm almost certain they'd be ranked, but I don't know where they'll be ranked. Like, are they going to be
24,
22, 23, 24? Or are they going to be like 18? Like, they should already be ranked so that by the time they got to that point, they'd have a good chance at being 17, 16, somewhere in that 15, somewhere in that ballpark. But they're holding them back. I don't know if that's for a reason.
All right.
So I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll see, man. I mean, look, fortunately, this playoff, this changes every single week. And, with as many great games as we have coming up, Michigan at Penn State, that could affect the top 10. Purdue at Ohio State, not saying Ohio State won't win, but that could be closer than people think. Oklahoma at Baylor. There's a lot of good games out there. I know that's definitely going to change these rankings, but kind of to end things here for the team that I really feel bad for is UTSA. Do you think they have a shot to make a New Year's Bowl?
No. No. Unfortunately, they're not ranked high enough right now. So even if Cincinnati were to lose, they wouldn't get in. So if say Houston wins out, goes to the conference championship and beats Cincinnati, Houston would probably be the team that got that New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, San Diego State, I think, is ranked higher than they are still currently, aren't they?
Let me see here. Yeah, actually, UTSA is 23. San Diego State is 22. And San Diego State actually has a big game this weekend against Nevada.
Right. That's another one. So San Diego State won out. They'd be ahead of them. I mean, I guess. No, because look, even I think a Sun Belt champion would make. I don't know. So look,
all right, knock it off. Knock it off with the Sun Belt talk.
San Diego State. Well, look, the Sun Belt's better than the Conference USA. They got a couple teams that are. I have 3 of them in my top 25. I think 2 are in the AP top 25. So that's why I said the Sun Belt champion might be ranked higher than them, but I don't think the committee would do that. So I guess theoretically there is a chance. Like if Cincinnati was to lose to Houston or whoever they play in the conference championship, and Houston were to lose one more before the conference championship, and San Diego State also lost, theoretically, I guess there is a chance. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, theoretically, there's a chance.
Man, I feel bad for them, man. I feel bad for them because They would essentially have gone undefeated just to play in the New Orleans Bowl or
Something like that. Yeah.
I hate it. So,
But look, that's what it is. Especially look, most teams in the 985, they got to do it for 2 years in a row, especially when you're a team that's only been around for like 10 years.
yeah.
That's even more so on UTSA. They got to prove themselves again.
Yeah. Got to do it again.
But that's what it is.
The upside, though, UTSA just signed their coach to an extension. So
10 years.
Congrats,
10 years.
Coach. That's a big deal. 10 years, $50,000. So, it's.
No, sir. He got a nice little contract.
I know. That's good. So hopefully you can pick up recruiting. The Alamo Dome is a nice place to play for a college football team. So you got the arena. Hopefully they get the facilities up more, and that can be a sustainable.
They started. I think they just got like locker rooms or something like that. Like they've started to upgrade that.
Cool.
And I think that's going to continue under Jeff Traylor with them having the success they're having.
Yeah.
I think they're going to put more into that program. So
good.
Yeah,
good.
They're trending in the right direction, no doubt.
Good. It's good to see, man. Good to see. But keep a lookout for our polls. Let us know what your thoughts are. Are we crazy? Are our polls off? Our picks? Let us know how much money you're winning, because I know we're getting a lot of y'all guys some money out there. We're just getting all these picks right and no one's taking advantage. You guys are crazy. Check us out. Like always, check us out at Those Two Dudes Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Those Two Dudes on Facebook and Spotify. Check us out. Let us know what your thoughts are. It's that dude, Josh.
That's that dude, Ruben.
Like and subscribe, download, share, do everything in between, guys. Push the notification bell.